Hello everyone, I'm Swapnil Tambi. It's fantastic to be here at Edu Plus Now, VIT. I've been associated with this for last 6 years, helping shape the curriculum, train the students. I really love the curriculum that's designed, taking into mind the needs of the future. So I interacted with the students. Today I'm here to interact with students on the career opportunities in Gen AI and the trends and how the tips and tricks of how they can prepare themselves. It was wonderful interacting with students, both offline as well as people present online. A few things that came up is, of course, there is no substitute for hard work. So in this day and age, we need to have this continuous learning mindset. Every day new algorithms, new techniques are coming in. So prepare yourself for that. You don't need to be a jack of all trades, but know a little bit about everything, but go deep in your chosen field. Develop your communication skills, because as an analytical person, it's helpful to be able to communicate your ideas, and then prepare well and be open to different types of opportunities. There are a lot of different types of rules are coming up, so be open to it and you can build your career in those.
The event titled EPN Talks is the focused on career of the era of generative AI, opportunities, trends and skills of the future. And our speaker, Mr. Swapnil Tambi, is the head of the India AI Hub at BNY, leading cross-functional team of data scientists, product managers, engineers, and designers who deliver enterprise-scale AI/ML solution with 19 plus years of global experience, including 8 plus years in the USA. Mr. Swapnil has worked in both management consulting and industry roles spanning strategies, analytics, and customer insights. Recognized as a 40 under 40 data scientist by Analytical India magazine, he frequently speaks at international conferences and conducts workshops at leading universities. Mr. Swapnil also serves on the board of studies for several fintech and educational institutes, shaping the future of analytics and AI education. Now I would request our director, Mr. Sachin sir, means to felicitate our guest, Mr. Swapnil sir, with small token of gratitude with floral bouquet and gift.
Sure.
Thank you.
Now I
Small
hand
token
over.
from us.
Thank you.
Over to you, Sachin sir.
Yeah, so good morning, everyone. I would say thanks to everyone for coming here in person in spite of the heavy rains. So that's become a task within Pune, or it seems across Maharashtra in the current scenarios. So nevertheless, it's going to be a worth whatever botheration you had reaching here. With an industry stalwart like Mr. Swapnil Tambi, so very much young in age, but has a thorough experience into the domains what today we have a lot of glamour around, maybe artificial intelligence, machine learning, data science, analytics. So a 19 years of experience might sound on a total career path to be somewhere in midway. But yes, working into the contemporary technologies, the latest tools, techniques is something very crucial, very important. And Swapnil has been a mentor for us as well at Edu Plus Now. Since we started around half a decade back, he was instrumental in shaping the syllabus, helping us in understanding the current global needs, what exactly would be the future trends and all these things. So a valuable input from him has always been there. We are fortunate enough, you all are, I would say, fortunate enough to have a face-to-face interaction with him, hear to him, listen to him about his current endeavors, the future plans, or where the industry is heading hereafter. And I really think it's going to be a lifetime memorable event for all of you. We at Edu Plus Now have been doing similar activities for the past year or so, with industry leaders coming to us from maybe Microlabs. We had someone coming from Foratia, we had a speaker from Google India, we had someone from Krafton. By the way, Krafton is a parent company for PUBG. People know the product, but very few know the parent organization. So the same continuity we have been continuing with Mr. Swapnil Tambi as well. But the only difference we did use this time was we thought let us name it as an activity. We have been having industrial stalwarts coming to us time and again.
Okay, good. So let's get started. So just a disclaimer, I mean, I work with a bank, so I had to put it out there that all the views are my personal. It's not of my organization. Ma'am did a great job of introducing me. So just in terms of agenda, right, these are the few topics. Of course, I want to delve into the different types of career opportunities I see in the analytics realm, and then some use cases and trends not just the financial services. I spent like 15 plus years in financial services, but beyond that as well. And then maybe the skills for the future and some of the risk and challenges we see. So those are, I hear from people that AI is taking away our job. I think that's kind of a misconception. I think we need to, it's a change. We have to go through change. Similar to we had like typewriter and then computer, same thing with AI. So if we just embrace AI and look at how can we complement and work together with AI, I think that will be fantastic, right? So AI is not going to replace humans, but humans using AI will replace humans not using AI, right? So that's how I think through it. Of course, probably if are you all like from analytics domain background, have you done courses? So you might be familiar with this ecosystem, but a lot of buzzwords get thrown around, that deep learning, ML, analytics, BI, and all this NLP and all that, they all fit together, right? I mean, again, I'll not bore you through the details of this slide, but the way I see it is, of course, there is a foundational layer, which is critical, especially if you're starting out your career in this field. It builds on the mathematics, statistics, probability, and calculus. So that's the foundation you need to have. On top of that, then you have these layers of AI, ML, DL, and now part of DL is, of course, the Gen AI. And then how you apply these concepts into different or specialize into text, so NLP or vision to computer vision and whatnot. So that's how it all fits together. It's good to know a little bit of everything, but maybe at some point you want to specialize because it's very hard for everyone to know everything. So I rely on my team. There are everyday new research papers coming in, new models coming in. So Claude works for coding versus Gemini works for deep research and all of that. So you need to rely on each other. So the group you have here, like sitting next to you, people online, so rely on each other for the learning. It's gone are the days. I mean, none of these things I learned when I was in college, right? So it's all about continuous learning, and it's great. I think all of you are associated with prestigious organizations, so that continuous learning is part of it. So thanks for investing in yourself. So just to delve deeper into, double click into some of the career opportunities. Again, like on a high level, there are a lot of different roles, right? Maybe like just 2 years ago when GenAI was not there, still at that time, I would categorize them into like 3 high-level buckets, right? One is like if you like numbers and data crunching and all that. So there are a lot of roles in the arena of data, and they can go by data analyst or data architect, so how you design your database, or data engineers, so how you design your tables and whatnot, or pull the data queries or build the reports. So a lot of different roles in that data umbrella itself. Then the second layer, the way I think of it, it's bridge between data and technology is the business layer. So you have your business analyst or domain-specific analyst, strategy, HR, ops, marketing analyst, even data scientists I would put there because they solve complex problems, right? So they need to have some business knowledge and then apply analytical skills. So that's the business area. And then third is people who love coding, right? The engineers, and that could be the technology. So DevOps or ML ops and now Gen AI ops or just like ML engineers, and those kind of things would fit in here. Any questions so far? Good. And then it just delves into a little bit detail of each of these, which I'll kind of skip over. But then depending on where you want to specialize in, right? So it's good to know about all, but then you probably want to specialize in one of these, right? If the data visualization is your core, maybe Alteryx and Power BI, those are the tools you need to know, right? So it just differs. And then this is for the business sides, and this is for the engineering sides. Now with the Gen AI, right? So this was like up until 2 years ago, I could see all these different roles in my company, in other companies as well. If their AI is not doing great, what's the worst can happen, right? It will recommend you some wrong movie, but you will choose not to watch that. But if a bank's AI is gone wrong, it might deny a loan to a prospective students. Let's say if you want to go abroad and study and you're applying for a loan, and given that some neural network didn't work properly, it denied. So repercussions are much higher in the banking and the healthcare sector. So banking and healthcare are always like little bit cautious compared to technology, media, and telecom industries. So I would say they are at the forefront. Then we follow, and now very fast catching up, lot of great opportunities in the industrial and manufacturing sector, and we'll talk about those, and they are catching up as well. So the point being, given that I'm in a bank, 50,000 plus people are building agents every day. We have thousands of agents available in the bank, more than hundreds in production. Who is going to review those? So there is I'm setting up a dedicated team within something called model risk management. So anytime now somebody builds a model, they have to come to my team, and my team will look at that, whether it's conceptually sound, the fairness, bias, and all those kind of testing, performance and all that. So that's a new role, right? It didn't exist earlier, but now there is like specialized, and we are hiring for it, hard to find talent. So a lot of new opportunities coming up. Of course, there are a lot of legal roles opening up within responsible AI to make sure the privacy and all those things are taken care of. If you are using some vendor data to within our Gen AI model, is it allowed, not allowed, because vendor contracts are specific. So all these are like within governance at risk. I would say that's one umbrella of new types of roles. Of course, then we are building some, all good? Okay, good. So then within the business side as well, if I think about it, I'll just touch upon this AI champions and AI pioneers. So throughout the bank, so my team, like if you think of this, BNY is a big team, 50,000 people, but the people working on AI, like full-time basis, it's only 200. Now this 200 people can't support 50,000 people. So we need like champions from lines of businesses. So that's when and it's common across industry as well, something called AI champions and AI pioneers. So they are the senior leaders and their team within the different lines of businesses. They work hand in hand with us to identify those new opportunities, to apply it and act as a change agent to drive the adoption within their business lines. I think, so we touched upon a little bit in the domain specific, there is a special, so when you start your career, it's okay, like we hire you for your technical skills, communication skills. You may not have the deep domain knowledge. It's great to have some, especially if you are experienced, but if you are freshers, it's not needed. But maybe once you have few years of experience, as some of you are experienced, that's when you can differentiate yourself. So you have the technical knowledge, but you have the domain knowledge as well. So a lot of domain specific hiring happens at the mid-senior level, right? Especially in manufacturing. So you probably heard of the digital twin. So it's like a digital replica of a physical machine, right? So you can test and monitor the digital version. Like car companies, they simulate the digital version to see how it will react, whether the engine will load the capacity and whatnot, and then they make the prototype. So it's very efficient in terms of cost as well. There are robotics AI specialists, so robots have been there like with Amazon and all of that, but those were like very rules-based. Now robots can use AI themselves, of course, to talk or also to determine the best route dynamically. So AI is getting integrated more and more with the physical world, right? With robotics or with IoT. You heard about the drones and autonomous cars and all of that. That's all this integration. So a lot of, I see upcoming opportunities in the manufacturing side as well. Of course, the banking and healthcare, it's booming. And we have a benefit that given that we are not first followers, so there is a lot to learn from what Amazon and Netflix of the world have done and the lessons learned. And then maybe this is the last category, but these are also some evolving, so like AI specific product managers. So that's when you need to, so what I want to highlight is not everybody needs to code, and probably all of you are interested in coding, and that's fine, that's great, right? But getting into AI field and making career in the AI field, not everybody needs to know coding. There are a lot of other opportunities like AI product manager. So if you know about AI, if you're well versed with the latest tools, techniques, all that, you can communicate well with the business as well as the technology folks, then you can explore opportunities with it. And if you like that, working with customers, getting their requirements, so AI product managers or AI product evangelists. So that's also a bunch of hiring we are doing on the product side. Okay, so these are about like some career that happened within analytics and then evolved with Gen AI. It's not easy, right? I mean, there are so many regulations, every day it's coming, and there are different ways we do it. Of course, there is a lot of investment, and that's why a lot of jobs in that area, right? So we have specialized country heads and local heads to manage the regulations coming out of that part of the world, right? So for APAC, it could be different. EU AI Act is different. California, the other acts are different, right? India has come up with some other act as well. So we need to be on top of it. That being said, so that's like army of people who are specialized and the upcoming opportunities. But then, given that we are in AI, we are building AI agents to help with that as well. So I'll just give you a quick example. So given that in the bank and risk and compliance, every week, so like Monetary Authority of Singapore, right, that's one of the regulators. They come up with a new list of regulations every week and publish a PDF, which is 100 to 500 pages long. And then I have very senior lawyers and compliance folks looking at it. They're like very highly paid, so it's not cheap. And there is a timeline because next week also new regulations will come in. So what we needed to do is like, hey, look at these regulations and see if we are compliant with those. Are those in our policies or not? If not, we had to make changes in policies, build controls around it, and a whole 9 yards, right? So instead of like manually doing it, we built an agent that, and with Gen AI, it's simple, right? You get the regulations. Of course, there were complications to extract the regulations out of that long PDF, append it with the metadata, and then scan it against our like 5,000 plus internal policies to identify if there is a gap or not a gap. So agent takes a first pass, and then we give it to our expensive lawyers and compliance folks. Hey, take a look. These are the gaps identified by agent. We make agent conservative so that we don't miss any gap, and then they look at it. So in terms of turnaround time, it's much faster. In terms of cost, it's much cheaper. So those are some of the ways we deal with that. Yeah. So we don't let that happen, especially in banking. It's like, that's why I said very regulated. So within financial services, the way it works is in the new role. That's when a team like mine comes in, AI and model risk. So any model built by them comes to my team. We independently validate all of those tools for all those things, conceptual soundness, data drift, everything, right? Then there is a third line of defense, that's audit. They check what I have done versus what first line has done. And that's all within, let's say, bank. And then there are regulators. They come in and regularly review all of that. So the chances of slipping any through, it's very negligible. So we take conservative route, and that's why I said probably banking is not at the forefront of using, let's say, Nano Banana. We are not using it right now, but we are still like very much using all the GPT-5 and Claude and all those other things. Does that help?
Yeah.
Good. Yes, exactly. Good. So I think we talked about use cases, but just so earlier, at least like maybe 2 years ago, right, there were like typical ML where you would do classify, you will predict something, and those still in place, right? I know a lot of talk even in like bank nowadays is all about Gen AI. That's a new shiny tool, but these are still getting used. We have our models which we still continue to use. Plus there is a new demand to build some of these things, so that traditional ML is still relevant. It's probably not in the news that much these days, right? And then, of course, this next few things, NLP, computer vision, and speech recognition, they all kind of got combined because of this multimodal models now, right? You just upload everything, be it speech or document, image, or the text document. It handles all of that. But a lot of use cases we see there. And then, of course, across the cycle as well, right? So there's the laundry list of, so if you are in a particular, so we talked about the industry, right? The manufacturing, healthcare, banking, and whatnot. But if you look at the function life cycle, like marketing, sales, operations, risk and compliance, all that, lot of opportunities in each of this. So it's up to you, where do you want to specialize and go? Plethora of opportunities, right? So of course, with marketing or sales as well, like where do you want to put your ATMs, right? That's also behind the scene analytics, AI, ML. How do you price, dynamic pricing? You see like Uber, suddenly it's raining, it charges 600 rupees, right? So all those is thanks to AI. Where do you put your marketing budget? lot of personalized offering we get these days. Risk, we talked about all the risk things, many use cases in risk. We sometimes use even in the first line. So I'll just give an example, right? So something called payment processing within operations we have. So a lot of incoming, even though in this day of age, we have a lot of checks or faxes coming in. So we apply like step-through processing with OCR and all that, and then apply Gen AI on top of that to extract the relevant information. And it has to be very crucial because you extract incorrect account number, the money might go to a wrong person, right? So a lot of checks and balances are there, but then the way we work is one model extracting, that's a maker model, and then a human in the loop checking that. But now we have added another model checking the quality of the first model. So we call it maker-checker model. And then they can debate with each other, and lot of different architectural design you can make on how this multi-agent can come together. Of course, HR, but again, I would just, is there any question? No? Okay. Yeah, so if you could mute if you don't have question. So one thing I will highlight here is, of course, companies are using, we are also using some, a vendor which has good AI capabilities within our recruiting portal, but you have to be careful as well, right? I think there was a case study with Amazon, if you probably heard, like they built some AI agent, it's few years ago, to screen the resumes, and it was a big flop because it was biased towards male applicants, because that's how it was in the historical database, that's how it got trained. So very bad negative praise for them, and they had to shut down the agent. So some of these areas when you apply, you have to consider, even if you are not in banking, you should consider what are the implications of it. Because you guys will go ahead and build these or set these policies, so you want to keep that in mind. Operations we talked about, I'll skip this use case. Okay, so let's talk about some of the trends. I think it got a little old now, but especially when, as a data scientist, again 2 years ago, we were building all this ML, we would do all the hyperparameter tuning and which algorithm is best and whatnot. And now many vendors have come in, and it's all like we automated our job itself, right? So you feed everything to the tool, and it applies all the different algorithms, models, tunes the hyperparameters, and gives you the final result. So it's like we are getting ourselves out of the business. But that's where the opportunity is, right? People who are stuck like, no, I want to write the code myself, like sklearn, build by myself, not a good point, right? I mean, it's all available. So see, as well as the carbon emission. You probably heard like the whatever OpenAI takes to run its GPUs and whatnot, it can light up the entire Australia and New Zealand together. So it's a huge energy consumption. It has a big impact on the environment, and that's where this edge computing federated learning is coming up. So the way it works on a high level is, instead of gathering all the data centrally, like from our devices and everything going back to the main server for full retraining and all that, our devices are powerful enough, so they push the algorithm down, and with the local data it gets retrained, and only those weights get passed on. So that way the amount of data you are passing it back, it's limited, so bandwidth consumption is reduced. At the same time, privacy is also secured, because you are not passing all the metadata about me. And so this is very evolving field, and feel free to do a lot of research, but a lot of jobs are going to open up in this arena. Of course, quantum computing, IBM is making good headways here. One analogy, networks and algorithm have been in existence from like 1960s, so it's not nothing new, but the hardware wasn't there. Hardware came available, let's say, easily available in 2010s, and that's when we saw the proliferation of all the use cases around computer vision and whatnot, like image recognition. Same thing will happen with quantum computing, right? This is very powerful hardware. Once it's available, there will be so many new use cases which can't even imagine, right? But that's something on the smart transportation and anything else. Of course, transfer learning is, I think we understand the model is trained one time, and we use it. Again, it helps reduce the carbon impact, and it's helpful, right, for the smaller company. Like even for companies such as our size, what I would say is we are not in a business of like training or any LLM from the scratch. That's not our core expertise. But we take those already built LLMs by the big techs and apply it to our customers, our employees. And so that's more like a transfer learning as well, right? And it helps with that, again, sustainability aspect. And I can take the best of the lot. So I don't restrict myself to, let's say, just OpenAI. I have all the OpenAI suite of models, but I have all Google Gemini, I have Anthropic Cloud, I have Llama on my Prem. So that's how I can not get stuck with one vendor, avoid my risk, but at the time use the best of all as well. Now I think going ahead with the Gen AI, I think today's AI is smart, right? We all agree. But then if you hear some of the like Meta's chief AI scientists, I recently attended his conference and he said, even the cat is smarter than current AI. Because that's how he's thinking about it. We don't still have the artificial general intelligence, right? Our AI is currently, all these LLMs are trained on some data which is available on Wiki and Stackflow and all other places. There is some cutoff. It just tries to identify patterns from within and apply it. It's not learning on a real-time basis. And that's when, again, that IoT concept comes in, when the AIs are smart enough to, like, based on our interactions, based on the experiences, they continually learn and adapt. That's when we'll have the AGI. People are saying like maybe it's another 2-3 years, so we'd be lucky to see that. But that's where the industry is going. The current transformer architecture, which is beyond, which is behind all these LLMs, we need some different type of architecture. And there is like some already research happened, JPA architecture and few other, which will be of future for this AGI purposes. So just like pointing those things out, so whatever is of interest to you guys, you could go and double click and research more on that, right? We talked about multimodal AI, so we'll skip that. IoT also, we said, right? I mean, the smartwatch and everything, it's all not just rules-based, but AI inbuilt into it. I mean, there are cases where it saved a human's life because it's all in the news, right? We talked about the responsible and ethical AI. That's really important, really key. Regulators are looking at it. Implications are huge, right? So forget about regulators or somebody is going to check. But the example I gave you about the declining loan. So you need to think through as a future leaders, like what am I building? Is it like, do I have the right sample, representative sample? Am I choosing the right algorithms? Is there enough explainability? Is there, I'm considering privacy. I'll take one other example. Hopefully that's helpful, like with example. So back, and it's quite old actually. It's 13 years ago when I was in the US. I just completed my MBA, and that time we did not have Gen AI. It was more like ML. And one of the specialty retailers, I wouldn't name it, but they came up with a very interesting and very advanced algorithm that time. What they did is based on your shopping behavior, or especially female shopping behavior, they were able to predict if a woman is pregnant or not. And so what they did is and it was working very well, very accurate. So they sent out pregnancy-related coupons to her. Now she was a teenager and she got these coupons in her mailbox. Her dad looked at it. Her dad got furious, like, hey, my daughter is teenager. Why are you sending her the pregnancy-related coupons? Like, are you encouraging her? Like, it's a bad influence, right? So he went and fought with that particular retailer and all that. In the end of it, he figured out his daughter was actually pregnant. So the model was really accurate, but that retailer got a really bad publicity because this is the personal data you couldn't be using. So you need to really think through what data you are using and for what purposes. So they shouldn't have like predicted the pregnancy based on the consumer shopping behavior. So that's what you need to think through. AI wouldn't think through that. That's where it needs like all of us, right? Collaboration, I think it's a lot in coding. So like we talked about automating our own job. So you heard probably from Microsoft and other leaders, like the 30% or more code is written by AI now. And that's what we have opened it up as well for our engineering team, like Windsurf, Copilot, and all those tools. Like let's use it. Let's let it automate the mundane tasks and we can build on top of it. Good. How are we doing on, we're good, right? Time?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so just like maybe some gyan on how can you prepare yourself, at least the way I see it. So I love traveling, I think ma'am mentioned I love traveling to institutes and talking to students, not just for interviews, but for sessions like this. So in last 3 weeks itself, I was at IIM Trichy, IIM Nagpur and IIT Mandi. So it's great, it gives me energy, right? I mean, the questions you guys ask and all of that. So at least from my experiences, the three types of things or skills that matter in today's world, right? One is, of course, if you are a fresher, I think the best thing you can do is build the solid foundation, like technical skills. For me, it's okay if you don't have a lot of domain knowledge, because that's what will teach you, right? But then the way you will differentiate yourself is like you will talk about SVM or XGBoost in much fluently than what I would know. I'll have to think about the kernel trick and whatnot, but you would be super fast, and that's what I would need. So the way the team works in corporate, it's more like collaboration. So as a manager, I would want a team who is better than me in some different aspect. I'll have some different skill set, maybe talking to customers or internal leadership, but then my team brings like technical skills so that we can complement each other and make progress towards our end consumers. So the technical skills like courses like this are super helpful, right? I always take, nowadays it's available online as well, physical classes are best, but then once, even after you're done with these classes, right? I mean, there's so many things coming up, YouTube, all that. So have that continuous learning mindset that's like really needed in today's day and age. Now, when you do this, it's important, even if you're experienced or even if you're a fresher, right? Finding opportunities to apply that. So let's say if you are experienced, then whatever you're learning, find a way to apply it in your business. If it's not in your business, find another team. I'm sure there is some other team, analytics, AI, ML team, even if you're not part of that team, because many people have reached out to me, they are doing similar courses, and they come and talk to me, can I shadow your team as you are working on that project? So those are the things you should explore, because if you're looking to get into these fields, the practical experience matters. It's not just the theory, but you need to show what you had done. If you're a fresher, again, find opportunities, like talk to sir, talk to others, right? Talk to your group. There are maybe a lot of opportunities online as well, freelance projects. One caveat is like, don't just pick up anything that's available on Kaggle. Somebody has already built the Jupyter notebook. You take it like, hey, breast cancer classification, and put it on your resume. I'll like straight like decline that resume. I was like, you haven't done anything. So find an interest Kaggle to get the data set. Exactly. And then apply some new techniques, tools into it. Maybe they solved it through some classification algorithm, but you solve it through different way. Mention that in your resume, and that would be a good conversation in our interview. So something to give, like there is one guy who lives in my society, and he came to me one day, 12th, he's in 12th standard, and it's like now 5-6 months ago or maybe more, and he's like, so every day we get so many online shopping and everything's get delivered, and we don't even have time to check if everything got delivered or not. So he had this idea, which is like, I'll scan your receipt, it has the list of items, I'll take a photo of all these items and I'll reconcile. I was like, that's fantastic, right? I mean, even if it doesn't work 100%, even if it works 60%, it's still good. I can still identify something. So have that creativity in you. And then, of course, the soft skills. So, of course, it gets better with practice. So, get into the opportunity of talking to others, present your things. But just being technically sound is not enough. Because, as I said, like we are 200 and there are 50,000. So, we need to help them understand the value of AI. We need to identify the problem. If you can't communicate with them, you will be like zoned in your own area. And then we hear a lot of articles about 95% of the AI projects are failing, right? But then our CEO came in and he said, no, this bank is in that 5%. So that's the leadership you need, and that's communication skill and all that you need to get that adopted within your company. Some of the other things, I'm sure like a lot of you are using LinkedIn, but use that. That's a like professional platform nowadays. I myself got so many opportunities through LinkedIn, and so feel free to use that. I do see some of the folks are not utilizing it to the fullest. Make sure all your certifications, if you're enrolled here, add that in your education. If the projects you are doing, add that there. Get a nice professional photo, cover photo, all that. recruiters, like in fact, I ask my recruiters to go and hunt on LinkedIn, because sometimes on Naukri and Monster, you don't get all the profiles or all the details. And of course, like more you post, right? I remember hiring one guy, again, like 4 or 5 years ago, because he posted that time about this speech to text and then the chatbot and all that. I was like, it's interesting. He has done something. Let me have an interview with him. We ended up hiring him as well. So add those things. If you are into research, if you read some research paper every day, talk about your insights out of it. Of course, resume, need to have it resume very polished and all that. So I'll skip. So types of interviews, you're probably familiar with it, but different companies do it differently. Just wanted to touch upon so that you can prepare yourself. You are looking for change and whatnot. But of course, there are some kind of technical interviews where either they will give you coding challenge or at least ask the technical algorithms and whatnot, right? There are behavioral, so time you demonstrated teamwork or leadership, those kind of. So have like 3-4 stories, reflect on your background, have those stories ready in the star format and practice talking through it. Like even tell me about yourself. You should have a version, like a 30-second version, elevator pitch, and maybe a 2-minute version. So you should not like struggle on that. Of course, a lot of times companies do GD, so group discussion. I love doing case interviews, maybe because I'm from consulting background. So even for AI/ML interviews, I throw a business problem, and I'm not looking at the one right answer there. I'm looking at how you structure the problem, how you break it down, how are you collaborating with me. If you're unsure, you can ask me, are you confident about it, and the communication. So all the different campuses I mentioned, I gave them case studies, and based on that, I did selection. I did not ask any technical question. So that's also something you could encounter. Of course, there could be a panel as well. Any questions so far? Online or here?
I have one question.
Yes, please.
Being a healthcare professional, how to prepare myself? If I want to leverage
Mm-hmm.
this tool,
Uh-huh.
cutting edge technology,
Uh-huh.
is this can reduce the duration of clinical trials.
Correct.
Right?
Uh-huh.
So how can I prepare myself to add a value?
Correct.
To add a value to business.
Exactly. So what you probably learn from here is all these tools and techniques and how they can be applied. That's where you come in, because you understand your particular business. I don't, right? And maybe there are others in your business. So there are 2 ways you can do it. Just when you learn all these tools and techniques, you see the art of the possible, right? And then you can think through, okay, people in my group or in my area, they do this thing. Maybe this can be automated or can be made faster and more efficient, all those things. So that's where you come in, and that's your value add compared to others, right? It's not like somebody external like me coming in can add value, but you can, because now you have best of both the worlds. That itself may not be enough all the time, and that's where you can work with people in, let's say, your company. I'm just generalizing it, right? And try to understand their processes or help them understand what AI can do, and that's when they can also relate. Oh, okay, what you did here for this particular thing, maybe this app you built for banking, we have some similar problem, can we apply it in this clinical trial? That's exactly what I did, like when I started with this bank 5 years ago, especially banking, as I'm saying, like strict no for AI/ML because of the regulations, and I was within risk and compliance, so more scrutiny. And I did not necessarily have huge, even though I had financial services background, but not much of risk and compliance. I was like marketing and operations, those side of things, and strategy. So I came and built my relationship with the other leaders, and then showed them the art of possibility. Hey, there are these different types of things you could do, like we have NLP, which can extract information from document. So a senior leader in credit risk, she said, oh, Swapnil, we have this bunch of credit agreements, and those are 500 pages long, and we look at these financial covenants like debt to equity and all those numbers. Would your tool be able to help? I was like, yeah, that's a fantastic use case. So we need those AI champions as well. You work with them to identify those opportunities, and then delivering is actually then easy, right? Because then you have a team of technical folks. But that's how you adopt and socialize AI.
Yeah, the main challenge is many healthcare professionals, specifically physicians,
Okay.
are not aware of this
Correct.
technologies.
Exactly.
So they are following the traditional waterfall
Yep.
process rather than agile. So my concern is, if I want to add this Gen AI in the clinical trial. So for that awareness is very important. So also the cost optimization. If I go to IBM, they will provide a huge estimate, right?
Correct.
So I need, that cost optimization is other factor. So to train our physician or our company people to get ready for the next challenge or next era to come, that is a Gen AI, maybe a IoT and all stuff that you explained. So just wanted to know how we can prepare healthcare professional to get into this.
Correct. And as I said, like it's very similar to the challenges I gone through within banking risk and compliance, maybe in the different domain and context, right? The key is start small. So you don't need to like throw everything at them. There you can do Power BI, you can do Gen AI, you can do neural network, and you can do like regular ML, right? Identify those champions out of like, let's say there are 100 people, pick one who has that analytical mind, who or she who is ready to like invest with you. So identify that one champion, identify the biggest or the easiest problem which can have impact, which is low risk in this arena, and then work with him or her and deliver something. Once you have something concrete delivered, then you can take that delivered product and then go to others and then see this is how AI is adding value. That's when you get opportunity. So it doesn't happen overnight. It's slow and painful process, but that's how you build credibility that, okay, this person knows something, it will help my day-to-day work, let's apply it. So first, like 5 years ago, we did not have any ML project, and now we have to ruthlessly prioritize, and I say no to 90% of the people. But it takes that effort, time and effort working with them. But that's the opportunity. That's why I have the job. Otherwise, this job wouldn't exist, right? So I think you are sitting on something, a gold mine, right? So
Yeah.
leverage that.
I think someone has raised a hand.
Yes, Suyash, please go ahead.
So my question is like there is one term like vibe coding.
Yeah.
Yeah, so can you just put some light on that? Like it is like it generates a code like AI. We already know that AI generates code. We don't need coders anymore right now. In what time span you can expect that programmer's role will be taken over by AI? Because if you give a requirement even now, so you get complete code. So what is the time span when that this AI will really replace the programmer's role?
Correct.
Means you just give the requirement and it generates whatever complete end-to-end integrated system for you.
No, great question. We kind of touched upon it with the coding assistants and whatnot, but that's very much in use even in our bank right now, right? And you probably heard from all the Microsofts and Amazons that they are using it, co-pilots and code assistants and Windsurf, that's one of the tools, right, for vibe coding. So it's basically, and that also helps democratize AI as well, right? Because like as a product manager, if I was talking about, so we have some very good product managers who are not, who don't have technical background. But now, before talking to their engineers, they put some prompt and then it generates some quick UI, which they take to the engineering team and UI UX engineer. This is something what I want. So it's a good starting point. Now, to your question is, the way I see it, it wouldn't fully replace all the jobs. Yes, maybe we'll require less engineers. I think we would require engineers who know how to be more efficient with these vibe coding tools, versus engineers who are like, no, I want to build anything from the scratch, everything from the scratch. So you will require, of course, less number of engineers doing this particular, like the basic coding. But then even if you have these vibe coders, there are, of course, you need to add a lot of customization. It has its own limit. Many a times, I also ask this co-pilots or Claude, they build the code, sometimes it's working, sometimes it's not. So you need to troubleshoot it, you need to debug it. So the number of engineers just doing hands-on coding will reduce, but they still will be required to complement this vibe coding. And this vibe coding tools, as I said, will be used by even non-engineers as well. So it's more like then computer, right? Everybody is using it. And then, of course, then you need to look an eye out for the other jobs which are opening up. We covered some of those, right? So transition yourselves to that. Like nobody's using typewriters, so all those typewriters don't exist. Maybe they switch to now computer typing or something else, right? So we'll all have to evolve ourselves.
Like data analysis, it's based on like mathematical statistics model and other things. So will the data analysis will also get like completely automated, because if we feed that in the models to with the statistical model, then they will generate the data analysis for us. Then why do we need a manual data analyst or
Good.
a data visualization engineer? Because even Power BI, if you just mention all the type of graphs and other things in the learning model, it will just create it for you. There is a possibility, right? So then this will become obsolete in few years maybe.
Correct, correct. I mean, you are right. So if you think about this, earlier we would build dashboards in Excel, right? And now we are building it in Power BI. So it's not that the visualization folks are gone, but people who know how to use Power BI are still very much in demand. You're right. In future, if Power BI has everything automated, we probably won't need that kind of job. Same thing with the data analysis. Till I guess maybe 6 months ago, LLMs were not good at handling structured data. But with current models, I think they are doing pretty good on the structured data as well. It's still not there, but like if your core job is now every day getting into the Excel, copying from one Excel to another, or just doing pivots, you need to think hard what skills I need to build for futures, because yes, that will get automated. But given that you have that domain knowledge, you have background, you can learn AI, how can you complement AI and provide some additional value-added services on top of it? That's when you can differentiate.
And one last question, sorry to.
No, go ahead. It's all for you guys.
Yeah. For experienced persons, like we don't have experience in AI, like we are also learning, even if we are working from 10 years. So we don't see many opportunities. We see the opportunities coming in AI for like 3 to 5 years or 6 years maybe, or for freshers, there is more scope. And how a person like us who has worked on only one technology, like and for 10 years can make a switch, because we have a big problem in India, that is a notice period. No one wants to take a person having a 90 days notice period. So yeah, you don't get like calls for anything, and that is a fact. So how do we overcome this?
No, so again, great question. Few different things, right? Of course, I can't solve for the notice period. I mean, I would love to have it reduced as well, right? In US, it's 2 weeks, but just from the perspective, it's come with its cost as well, right? Any day they can come in and say, oh, you are gone, so you just get 2 weeks of pay and you are out. Here, if they like fire us, let's say, we at least get 3 months of pay. So there is cushion. So there is the pros and cons, and why it was like 2 months or 3 months. Of course, I've seen some people who are like very sure on their skills and whatnot. They resign, put down their paper, and then they're shopping around in the market. So that's something, it's based on your risk appetite. What else? I think you asked a bunch of things. I forgot some of those earlier things.
For 10 years plus.
Yes, opportunities and how can you prepare yourself, right? So some of these things, so I mentioned, right, like if you are experienced, if you're already working, good part is you're getting this additional skill. So I know, let's say you worked in a full stack, now you're complementing your skill set. So that's definitely a one value addition. So in the market, let's say a fresher comes in, he or she would know only one technology. Now you would know 2 technology. You can say, hey, I can build it, but I can deploy it as well because I did DevOps, or I'm a good UI UX engineer. That's how you need to figure out, looking at your background, like how can you differentiate yourself? That's one way. Another way, given that whatever industry or company you're working in, you must have built some domain knowledge. So make sure you highlight that. And so that's how, again, you differentiate yourself. Then there are projects. We talked about the practical aspects of things. So just learning theory is not enough, because you will be looking for some mid-senior roles as well. And then why would company hire you versus a fresher? So you need to have a lot of opportunities during your courses to do some interesting projects, like the DMart or that grocery example I took. That anybody can do it in their spare time. You need to invest in it. But within company, as I said, within your domain, like the clinical trials, or if there are other AI-specific groups in your company, go talk to them, find out some opportunities, collaborate with them. You need to invest more time along with your BAU, or if there is nothing like that, even in what you are doing, try to identify opportunities, how it could be streamlined or done better, more effectively, all that, and then apply these learnings. Of course, there is no substitute for hard work and putting extra time, but when you put that in your resume and it comes to hiring manager's table, hiring manager sees, okay, he has done some data science courses, he's well versed with that, he knows UI, UX or DevOps, he brings this industry knowledge, and there are some practical applied projects I could see. And then that's a winning combination. And even if, let's say, Amazons of the world don't take you, it's okay to like sometimes take a little bit step back and then maybe take 2 steps forward. So even if that some companies have that mental thing that I don't want to hire unless your title is data scientist, it's okay, go with little smaller company, maybe take a little bit of pay cut, it's okay. Within 6 months, 1 year, I'm sure you will double your salary.
Thank you. Thank you.
Of course. I know we are over time, but
No, that's fine.
That's fine.
You can take your time.
Okay.
Finish the topics.
Okay, so just maybe quickly last 2-3 minutes. I think we touched upon, so many times people will come to you and then like, hey, apply Gen AI to this, apply ML to this, and what they want to do is copy from one Excel to another. So just think through it, like don't bring bazooka to kill a fly, right? Fly swatter is enough. That's what Andrew Ng uses. So I kind of copied his line. I loved it, right? We built some like this kind of flow chart to help them understand, like, do you have data? Is it like this? Really need the AI or not? So think through that. We talked about the risk and challenges, but the risks are real, right? I mean, we talked about the loan, declining the loan. Some of Elon Musk says AI is more dangerous than nukes. Bill Gates also agrees, and those kind of things. So keep in mind, we talked about that one example of the pregnancy. There are so many other examples. We talked about applying it in the hiring decisions. So be careful. Pay close attention to all of this because people are watching, and one bad algorithm can like really mess up the reputation of the organization and whatnot. So be really careful. There was something with one of the big companies on the face detection, and for the African Americans, it was identifying it as chimpanzee. So that was very bad for them.
SWOT analysis is very important.
Of course, of course. Good. So that's all I have. Any other questions from any of you?
In my case, I have work of classification. In that, I use only one matrix is confusion matrix. Now, in that, there are 2 type of error, recall and precision. Now, I need precision more. So, after what procedure I can increase the precision? Maybe data can be biased. Maybe I have to use dropout. So, how do you handle that big amount of like model training? That
Correct. So the metric depends on your use case, right? Like the one I was talking about, the regulation. That's when recall was more important to me because I didn't want to miss out on any regulation. So it was okay for me to call, like even if we have covered that regulation in policy, it was okay for me to call it like, hey, I don't know if it's really covered or not. So I was compromising on precision and making sure the recall is 100%. That's dependent on the business need, use case, and then just all the approvals, right? So in your classification use case, it could be F1 score or accuracy or precision recall. You need to think through what makes more business sense and the cost benefit of it, right? Like if you make more errors in that other metric, so what's important? So it's use case basis. But then just from the metric perspective is not enough, right? Especially these days, it all starts from the beginning, right? Especially when you start using the data, do you have approval to use the data? We talked about, we wanted to do so many Gen AI models, but we wanted to use some vendor reports like Moody's research report and all that. We can't just directly fit that into LLM because they have their own contracts, so we need to work with them. So are you allowed to use the data? Is the data coming from authoritative data sources? Is it a representative sample? So you need to really think through the data aspect. Then you come to your modeling design. We talked about, is it like a simple automation? You can do it in Excel. You need AI ML, you need neural network DL, or you need Gen AI. So you need to think through algorithm techniques and the techniques you apply for adversarial debiasing and all those kind of things to make sure it's not deprioritizing particular group and this parity impact, right? And then there is your performance, the accuracy and all that. And there is the ongoing monitoring because one-time performance is not enough. There could be so many black swan events, the data distribution changes, so you need to have that regular monitoring as well. That's how you make sure that your tool is doing what it's supposed to do. Any other question?
I have a question.
Yeah, please.
Actually, sir, can we now that in the election it is coming that a fake votes are. So can the use of AI can we identify that some votes are fake or not?
So, good question. Not 100%. I mean, if you use this, the Google Gemini, right, the Nano Banana, it's very hard to differentiate, right? I mean, it can just instantly change my clothes and put me in front of like Eiffel Tower. So it's hard. That's when the responsible AI practices comes in. So companies are taking ways to book watermark, put the watermarks, like if you build something with Gemini, they put something at the bottom right that it's built by Gemini, right? So companies have to take that into account as well. And now there are some algorithms and techniques are getting built which are not 100% accurate. So it's hard. I mean, that's why we have so many deep fakes, right? People making like parody of so many politicians and whatnot. But it's hard problem and something to be solved for. So it could be a great opportunity if somebody wants to work on it.
And one more question, sir. Now about the Gemini AI, it is come that it is stolen the data. Obviously it requires the data, but it is unsafe also.
So yes, so if you're talking, if you said stolen, right? I mean, that's correct, right? I mean, when ChatGPT or OpenAI built something, they did not necessarily take all the permission. They like just took everything from the internet and built it. Now that creates many problems. One is, as you're talking about the safety, right? So we all seen like so many people asking so many different things like, how can I make a bomb, or like I want to do suicide and all those things. So from safety angle, it's difficult. Again, like those vendors, they are trying to adopt some responsible AI practices. Everybody is learning, right? So they are trying to put some guardrails, but then people try to overcome that guardrail, right? They say that I don't want to do it, but my friend is doing it. So how do I know if he's trying to do it? And then the LLM answers, right? And now the trainer are getting smarter and trying to make LLM smarter. So it's a continuous evolving field, and that's again a new type of job, right? The AI safety and AI guardrails and governance. Yeah, I think so that probably, does that answer your question? Or maybe I missed part of it. Right? That's a great idea, right? Yeah, I mean, it is possible. It just needs like consensus from everybody, right? I mean, maybe regulators have to come in and put that as a guideline, and the companies have to be responsible enough to make sure they follow that practices. If one company is not doing it, then it's hard to get implemented. Anything else?
Any more questions?
All good? Clear as mud? Good then. So thank you so much again for having me. I hope it was helpful. Feel free to reach out, LinkedIn, otherwise after the class. Happy to answer any questions. But thank you.
Thank you.